ties in nicely with this Louis Vuitton book here. Louis Vuitton. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin if you're new here, and today's video, as I'm sure you can tell by the background, it's going to be a little bit of a different video for this channel so far, and it is going to be my kitchen and dining room tour in our new house here in California. And if you've been here for a little while, you'll know that my husband and I recently moved from Virginia, where we lived in a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment for a year and a half, to a 2-story, 3-bedroom, 2.5-bathroom house here in California. And I do want to give a little disclaimer that my husband and I are a military family, so we are in military housing. So technically, yes, we are renters. I just sort of wanted to get that out of the way in case I happen to reference anything about the fact that we do live in military housing. That being said, I'm very, very excited to get this video started. Before I actually get into it, let me just quickly tell you a bit more about myself, just in case you're new here. As I said, my name is Caitlin. On this channel, I usually post fashion, lifestyle, travel, beauty type of content and videos. I post vlogs every Monday and more sit-down style or informative or this kind of video every Thursday. So if that sounds interesting to you, please go ahead and click the subscribe button down below. It would mean the absolute world to me if you could join my little family here on YouTube. And if you've already subscribed, I just want to say thank you so much for doing so. It's been really, really exciting seeing my numbers grow every day, and I've been messaging some of my subscribers and talking to you guys on my Instagram DMs, and it's been really, really fun connecting with you. Speaking of Instagram, please go ahead and follow me over on my Instagram if you haven't already. As I said, I typically post fashion content. I am going to be making a series out of this style video. So as I said, this is the first video in the series. The next videos will be up as soon as I get the rooms decorated, but we are on a budget, so that will be later down the line. But last thing I want to say before I get started, I know there's quite a few disclaimers here, is that I am a one-woman team, so I don't have anyone that's going to be like following me around throughout the room, as I'm sure you've probably seen in other types of room tours or house tours. So please bear with me. I'm going to try to do the best that I can to sort of mix me talking to the camera with like panning shots of what I'm talking about and all that stuff. So yeah, let me know if I did a good job, because it's my first time sort of filming this style video by myself. I did do an apartment tour of our last place, so you can kind of see where we came from. We didn't live there for very long. We thought we'd only be living there for 6 months, so we didn't buy any furniture. It was very, very empty. So this has been a huge upgrade for us. So if you're curious to see where we started, I will link that somewhere up above. And without further ado, let's go ahead and start with the kitchen. So welcome to the kitchen. As you can see, the lighting here is not incredible, so please bear with me on that. But as I mentioned, we do live in military housing, so this kitchen, including the cabinetry and the appliances, are pretty much out of our control. This area of the kitchen we call the corner of appliances, and I'm gonna be honest, it's not my favorite part of the house. Out of this whole tour, it's probably the least exciting part in this tour, but you know what? It's reality. We're 24-year-olds with our first place. It's not gonna be super luxurious. But anyway, my philosophy when it comes to, you know, not being able to have my dream kitchen with like a marble countertop and dark stained wood is to make all of the things in the kitchen, like the actual things sitting on the counter, something that I enjoy or that is aesthetically pleasing. So I'm gonna go ahead and not talk about this Hamilton Beach toaster oven in that regard, because to me, I think it's ugly, but my husband insisted that we keep it, and honestly, I don't know what else I'm gonna put in that corner anyway, so that's what that's about. But what I do want to talk about is we do have a pretty basic coffee setup here. We just have a probably like $30 little hot coffee setup, but something that I'm actually so obsessed with that I picked up on Crate & Barrel, I believe, recently, is this Cuisinart coffee grinder. And the reason that we had to pick up this coffee grinder is my lovely sister-in-law, who I met for the first time over this past winter. She is from New Mexico, and she got gifts for my family and I for Christmas, obviously, and one of those gifts included this New Mexico Biscochito coffee. And if you've never had this before, my husband and I are absolutely obsessed with it. We literally, like I said, picked up a coffee grinder just to grind these coffee beans. It's like, imagine coffee beans that just naturally smell like cinnamon cookies. Like, it smells incredible. And even if she hadn't gotten us this, we probably would have eventually ended up getting this coffee machine as a way to sort of step up our coffee game. I'm not really a coffee drinker. I'll get to that in a second, but my husband is very, very much a coffee drinker. And at this moment in time, we don't have like one of those like crazy $800 like espresso machines that like look really cool. That'll be a one-day purchase, but not right now. But it's really cool and exciting to sort of feel like we have a little bit of a coffee routine. So my husband also recently picked up this sort of cold brew coffee device, and he picked it up on Amazon. And again, he's the one that really loves coffee, but basically what you do is you put the coffee beans in the center and you fill it up with, I believe, room temperature water, and he sticks it in the fridge for like a few hours, 8 hours minimum, I think, and it brews basically ready-made cold brew coffee. So that is not something that we keep out on the counter, but I just thought I would show you in case, like I said, you're in a similar boat and you kind of want to up your coffee game at home a little bit, and you're like us and you're just starting out. My mom got me this cookbook for Christmas. It is the Happy in a Hurry cookbook by Steve and Kathy Ducci. I'm gonna say Ducci. I don't know. I don't want to say Dookie. Anyway, we also have some like HelloFresh recipe cards back there because we are subscribed to HelloFresh, and we have been in the past, and I do save all the recipe cards, so this is kind of our little recipe corner. And the last things that I want to mention are these Smeg appliances. I'm sure you can see them over here. Again, like I said, if I can't have my dream kitchen, I'm gonna make everything in it cute. And I'm obsessed with Smeg, and I love their fridges. My husband is not a fan. I don't think we'll ever end up getting one of the fridges because he's more of like a high-tech fridge guy, but they do make these like little countertop appliances. This is a tea kettle. I'm a tea drinker, my husband is not so much, and I absolutely love this guy. It is an upgrade from the last like $20 tea kettle that I had. It's very luxurious. It's a bit pricey, but as you can tell, or maybe you can't, it's actually a matte white, so it looks really sleek and pretty on the countertop. And my husband actually has started drinking tea a little bit just because he thinks this thing looks so cool. And as you can see over here, we have the matching toaster. And again, you know, I just wanted to make the counter of electronics look as cute as possible. So the first thing that I have over here is this little oil dispenser thing. I believe they're called crusettes. I might be completely making that up, but I believe I picked this up at Target or Wayfair. You can find them anywhere. I used to think these were so bougie and unnecessary, but honestly, it's really nice to have your cooking oil easily on hand if you're just like, oh my gosh, like I need to add more cooking oil before something burns. And obviously you don't want like your ugly olive oil sitting on the countertop if you're like me and you need to make your kitchen beautiful in other ways aside from the actual appliances in it. I also have just a McCormick salt and pepper grinder. I should probably upgrade these at one point, but I just know I'm not the kind of person at this stage of my life that's gonna like buy whole peppercorns and whole sea salt and like carefully dispense it into a grinder, and I can easily pick those up at the grocery store that we go to, so that's really easy. This knife set was a gift from my parents. They picked it up at Target. Both of these cutting boards I picked up from Wayfair, actually. These are not our functional cutting boards. Like maybe I would make this into a charcuterie board. I don't know if you can tell, but this is actually real marble. I'm pretty sure it's really heavy. And this one is super heavy and super thick. I'm not even gonna pick it up actually because I don't wanna mess up the situation I have going on over here. But again, it's just those nice little touches that take a kitchen that's on a military housing community that's kind of blah, and it makes me feel so happy whenever I get to cook in it. This is my artisanal bowl of fake pears, and normally we do have fruit in here. It just feels like as of late we're not able to make it through fruit bowl types of fruit like apples and bananas like quick enough to justify constantly having this full. We do eat fruit, but it's like all in the fridge, so I picked up these fake pears from Target. They were 10 bucks, and I think it's great. It's worth it. It means that I don't just have like garlic and ginger in my fruit bowl, which just looks so odd and unappetizing. I also have some other decoration-y type elements over here. This is a porcelain mason jar. I'm not sure how well this is gonna pick up on camera. It might be a little bit washed out, but it is actually the matching set to that milk jug that I just showed you earlier. Again, Target. Target is amazing for if you just want to spruce up your kitchen a little bit. And I know some people don't always think about adding like decorative elements to their kitchen like this, but if you have the room, I'd highly, highly recommend it. These flowers are fake, as you can tell, they're fake peonies, I believe, and I picked these up, honestly, I think on Amazon. Amazon really came in clutch for the baby's breath flowers and these flowers here. And I do like to have fresh flowers in my kitchen as well, as you can see, but I like to have more than just one bouquet of flowers in my kitchen, and it would be just highly financially irresponsible at this stage of my life to constantly be buying 3 different bouquets of flowers just to sit in my kitchen for a week at a time. So fake flowers it is, and if I ever, for whatever reason, end up with more than one bouquet of fresh flowers, I could just easily take this out, and now I have another vase. And last but not least, we have my pride and joy, this artichoke statue. And I know you might be like, that's so strange, that's so weird. I do really love the whole English countryside farmhousey type kitchen that a lot of British YouTubers that live in the countryside have, and all of them have this like fake artichoke thing sitting somewhere in their kitchen, whether it's like in a decorative shelf or like on the countertop like I do. And I picked this up from Wayfair of all places, and I love it. It's really big. They have it in different sizes, but I will show you a close-up of this little corner as I've been talking about it. And as you can see, it's just a nice little space filler that helps to sort of differentiate the kitchen that I'm currently standing in from the dining room, which I will get into now. If you're new to my channel and you haven't seen me before, I am very, very much into plants. I love plants. I love the outdoors. I love bringing the outdoors in. And so my dream type of dining room would be like, literally, like I said, in a greenhouse with like vines hanging down and like big palms and stuff in the corner, or like a sort of indoor-outdoor situation like my parents had when I was growing up in Hawaii, where they had an outdoor dining room, and you know, up against the backdrop as you were eating out there, there was like these beautiful lush green plants, and if it rained a little bit, you know, you could still eat out there, and it was so lovely and lush. I love having the main entertainment spaces of a home be just so inviting and full of life. So I sort of took that inspiration and tweaked it into a way that made sense for a military housing rental. So let's get into it. The first area of this dining room that I really want to talk about is this fabulous gallery wall that I'm very proud to say I actually selected and hung it up myself. And this video is not sponsored by anyone, but I would like to say that these prints and this gallery wall are all from the print shop Desenio. And I know they're very, very popular here on YouTube. If you've watched like any vlogs or any room tours or house tours, I'm sure you've heard the word Desenio before. And basically what they do is they offer a huge variety of prints, everything from nature to travel. And again, I'm not totally sure why I'm saying all this because I'm not sponsored by Desenio, but I must say I will be reaching out to them about future collaborations because I'm very, very impressed with what they have to offer. But basically one of their things that they really, really advertise is that they sell pre-made gallery walls. And this one here is not pre-made. I selected all of these prints myself, but basically they have this feature on the website that I would highly recommend if you have a blank wall that you want to fill up with a lot of prints like this, and you can sort of pick the size of the wall, like you can pick like the configuration and how big you want the gallery wall to be, and then once you've picked the layout and the size that you want, you can fit in each individual slot with posters that they already sell on the website. And then you can also pick the frames or like the frame color, and it's honestly totally worth it. Originally I thought it was a little bit expensive, but honestly after shopping for prints for other rooms on other websites, it's really not that expensive, and it's totally worth it because it was super, super easy for me to get this sort of tropical gallery wall look that I was really, really going for, that honestly would have been pretty hard, a lot harder for me to achieve by myself through like sourcing prints individually that all just so happen to have matching frames. So I would highly, highly recommend Desenio. And then last but certainly not least, on this side of the room, we have our drinks fridge. And I'm not that much of a drinker like by myself or just with my husband, but we do love to drink in social settings, and something that was really, really important to my husband is that this space could be a place where we could have friends and family over, and they would have easy access to drinks and refreshments and all that kind of stuff. And my husband does really enjoy drinking recreationally as a way to sort of stress relief from his job. So I picked this up with him in mind, and he is obsessed with it. I'm not gonna go into the contents, it's like seltzers and beers and stuff like that. Picked this guy up on Amazon. It's really cool, you can like see the temperature control from the outside. And I picked up this cheeky little bar light up sign on Amazon as well, and I think it is so cute. It really adds this like fun touch to a space. Like I feel like if you come into this room and you're coming over to our house for like a party or like just coming to visit, like you can't have a bad time in this room. As for the actual table setup for this dining room, this table is from CB2, and it's one of their more trending styles on their website or on their Instagram and social medias. I feel like I've seen this dining table everywhere, so I thought it was gonna be pretty expensive, but luckily it wasn't. I believe it was less than 150 bucks. And I think you can tell in the viewfinder, again, filming by myself, but it's one of those tables where the only leg is like in through the center, so there's not like 4 legs on each side, which is really nice because we couldn't fit more than a 4-person dining room table in here super comfortably. I mean, I guess we could, but it'd be a bit cramped. But I like this style of dining table for smaller spaces because it gives you the option to, if you want to, you can very easily move the chairs around and pull up more chairs. So I do honestly think we could fit 6 people here still pretty comfortably if we wanted to, if we had friends or family over. And this plant here, which I will give you a little close-up of, is I think it's called a rose painted calathea, and I'll get more into how I take care of my plants a little bit later in this video, but just hold on to that thought, I'll get back to it. And I also have here, you can't see them, but again, I'll do a close-up of some salt and pepper shakers that are actually from a Kate Spade home collection that I found at Bed Bath & Beyond in like 2019. And I just picked them up because they're fun. We honestly don't really use them, but it's kind of a nice way to decorate a dining room table in a way that's not like where it's covered in stuff and you can't actually use it to eat. And then last but not least, these chairs here are from Wayfair, and I originally had other chairs in mind that were a little bit less bulky. I'm not sure how well you can see, but these actually have a really bulky silhouette. You might be able to see, yeah, you can see that. They have a really, really bulky black silhouette that when they first came in, I was originally a bit worried that they'd sort of take over the room by just being such a heavy presence, dark presence in the room. But we love them. I actually love the fact that there's no arms on them because it makes it really easy to just slip in and out, and they're so comfortable. And as a couple, my husband and I, that love eating and just enjoy like gathering around, and like when we do eventually have friends over now that the dining room is finished, you know, we want to be able to sit in this room comfortably and not be on some like really, you know, tiny, uncomfortable, flimsy little chairs. Like, we're so glad that we ended up biting the bullet a little bit. These actually weren't too expensive, but we're really glad that we decided to go with these more squishy, comfortable style chairs. One of my favorite little elements of the dining room that is kind of in the kitchen, kind of in the dining room, is this hanging fruit basket. And it was a gift from my in-laws, Ron and Gina, as part of like a birthday sort of package for my 24th birthday, which I recently just celebrated. And I've always wanted one of these hanging fruit baskets, but it's never been the kind of thing that I've like wanted to buy for myself because I was like, oh, I don't want to have to deal with hanging it, blah, blah, blah. But I'll show you a close-up of it. I actually have it hanging on a command hook that I picked up on Amazon. Amazon has these command hooks. All I had to do was search up command ceiling hook, and I found this hook here, and it holds up to 6 pounds, and I measured it. That is real fruit in it, by the way. I measured it with the fruit, and it only came out to 4 pounds. And it's really nice because we aren't actually able to drill into the ceiling up here because it is part of like the structural support of the home. I think it's kind of cute because it ties in sort of like the white aesthetic of the kitchen with like the tropical aesthetic of the dining room. Last but not least, we have come to my favorite part of the dining room, which is this wall with this beautiful side table on it. This wall houses all of the plants in the dining room with the exception of the one that I just showed you over on the dining room table, and I wanted to quickly get into how I care for my plants. And again, this video is not sponsored by anyone, but if you're like me and you're someone who really loves your plants, and maybe you're just sort of dipping your toes into buying larger plants, like my plant obsession started in college when I was buying like succulents for my windowsill for my dorm room. And succulents, the little tiny ones that I had at that time, are very easy to care for. So at my last place, I stepped it up a little bit. I got like a pothos and some other plants, and they were not doing very well. And I quickly realized that even though I thought I knew what a plant needs, I wasn't giving my plants what they needed in the right quantities, i.e. I was overwatering them, too much sun, not enough sun. So I used the app Planta, and I'll put a photo or a screenshot of the app and potentially me scrolling through it over here on the side. And basically what Planta is, it's an app where you can tell the app, you can input what types of plants that you have. So it breaks it down by room. So I have like a little section for the plants in my living room and a little section for the plants that I have in the dining room. So right now these are all the plants that I own, and you'll be seeing my living room tour next. So stay tuned for that. But you input what plants you have. I actually am subscribed to the premium version of Planta. You can use it as a free app where it just tells you how much water and how often to give that water to your plants. But the premium version has extra features like it can tell just by using a light meter if your room is well lit, or if it's not well lit, or if it's suited to the type of plant that you're trying to put in that room, or the spot that you're trying to put it in that room. So once you've input the types of plants that you have and you've selected, you know, what room they're going in, what the light conditions are in that room, if it's repotted, if it's been repotted, what has it been repotted into, etc., etc. And then you'll get little reminders on your phone or on the app when to water your plants. And this has been a game changer for me because I've collected, I think, 10 plants at this point. I'm not exactly sure. I'm planning on collecting more. But as you know, if you're a plant lover like me, sometimes plants will be like, oh, you need to water it every 3 weeks. And some plants you need to water every 4 days. And some plants you need to mist. And some you need to fertilize. And it just, I'm not the kind of person where I'm gonna, like, I don't know, write that down in a calendar or something, or like write reminders on my phone. I don't even know if the iPhone reminders app has that sort of capability to like remind you of something every 4 days. But anyway, since using the Planta app, all of my plants have been thriving. And I'm the kind of person that killed a succulent and a pothos at my old place, which are like widely known to be some of the easiest plants to care for because I was overwatering them or whatever. And so if you're a plant lover like me, I would highly recommend getting the app Planta because as you'll see, I have a really big palm over there, and I have this glorious Monstera over here in the corner. And this is my first Monstera, and Monsteras are probably my favorite indoor plant that I've ever experienced. I know a lot of people are really into the fiddle leaf figs. I agree, those are amazing, but if I had to pick an indoor plant that's my favorite, it would be a Monstera. And these are not cheap. Like, I mean, you can get certain plants for cheap perhaps, but if you're like me and you're collecting a lot and you're starting to get into bigger plants, you don't want to, you know, throw $200, $300, $400 away for like multiple plants plus potters plus potting soil plus tools because you're not taking care of them the right way. So highly recommend my app, but I'm gonna go ahead and continue the tour now. I just really wanted to put that interlude in here because I know that I'm probably gonna be bringing it up in future house tour videos. But as I was saying, I have a Monstera over here. It is absolutely lovely and gorgeous. And I'm happy that he's doing well over here because I was able to use the Planta light meter, and I originally didn't think this would be enough sun for him here in this corner, but according to Planta, he would be okay. And he honestly, I don't know why I'm calling him he. I feel like I should name him like George or something, but he's been doing very well. I've noticed, even though I've only had him for 2 weeks, he's actually in better shape now than when I first picked him up. So moving on to this glorious side table. I am so happy with this table. As you can hear my ring hitting the top of it, it's actually metal. I picked this up on Wayfair and I really liked it on the website, but it was one of those things where I liked it on the website and then when it arrived, I was blown away. It is so gorgeous. The front of it is refurbished wood that has sort of been patterned into this really cool like sunburst design, and as you can see there's like different textures and patterns, and I really like that the wood is not like sanded down flat or anything. It's like got this amazing texture to it, and admittedly there's nothing in here right now. It's mostly just to sort of hold all these talking pieces and like decoration things on top. And then these prints up here are also from Desenio. I think you're not going to be able to see them super well because it looks like there's a bit of a glare off of them from the sunshine outside, but these are botanical prints. I really like that sort of botanical style wall decor because again, it kind of makes me feel like I'm like in one of those English conservatories where like people are studying botany, which fun fact is what my mom studied in college, so maybe that's where I get it from. But let's get a little bit closer of a look on the contents of this side table. All right, so like I said, this side table is kind of my pride and joy. So I'm gonna start off over here. This guy here is a little umbrella plant, and this plant has a special place in my heart because, as I've said before, I was born and raised in Hawaii, and my parents had this gorgeous front yard that was a bitch to landscape because you know that they use the help of their children to trim the trees and all that good stuff. So they had a fabulous umbrella plant that was much bigger than this. The umbrella sort of leaves on it were so big that like when my brothers and I were little kids and they the tree would shed these leaves, like they come off of the tree as like a full umbrella, like this full thing right here, we would like flip them upside down and put them on our head, and it would make these like really cool like leaf crowns. Yeah, so when I found this mini version at the nursery, I believe it's called the North Park Nursery in San Diego. Yes, that's what it's called. That's where I picked up this guy. That's also where I picked up my little Monstera there in the corner. And highly, highly would recommend that nursery if you're anywhere in the San Diego area or within driving range of the San Diego area. Those guys are amazing. They offer some really, like, I want to say trendy plants, but at very reasonable prices. Like, I feel like because plants have been such a huge home decor trend as of late, like some boutique-y type places just charge ridiculous amounts for plants. And next up we have my plant mister that I picked up again at the North Park Nursery in San Diego, and I have never misted plants before. I didn't know that that was something that some of them needed, but the Planta app does recommend it for I think all of these plants, but at like different intervals. Not the succulents, those do not get misted, but basically something that misting does, the plant doesn't actually absorb water through its leaves, but it helps keep dust and debris and potentially even diseases off of the plant. If you've ever seen a plant that's got like weird stuff on the leaves, it's probably because like some kind of disease landed on it. Again, I'm no plant expert, but I've noticed that since I've been misting the plants that do require misting according to the Planta app, especially the Monstera, when I first got him, he was kind of gray, he was kind of dusty. I don't blame North Park Nursery. They have a lot of plants that they gotta take care of. But since I've misted him according to the Planta app directions, he just looks he looks so green and happy and lush, and that just makes me happy. And I'm not gonna lie, it's so satisfying in the morning to check my Planta app and see that I got a mist, because I just love going and I'm not sure how well the camera's picking it up, but this type of mister I would highly recommend, like a mister actually designed for plants rather than like a big plastic spray bottle, because the spray is really concentrated, and if you're like me, if you have a lot of indoor plants, you don't want to get everything else around them wet. Something like this is really nice because you can really get in there, and the spray is like really nice and wide but not messy, so highly would recommend something like this. This is weirdly enough like a fall candle that my mother-in-law got me last year, and we just never really ended up burning because by the time that we got it, I think we were basically moving out, but it smells really good. And as you may be able to tell, I have like pops of orange in this room in the prints and the bar sign, which is like a reddish orange, and so this candle has like little orange details on it, so I figured it would go nicely in this room even though it's a fall candle. And then this little tray here, I picked up the last time I was at my parents' house in Montana. If you've been a subscriber of mine and you saw my Montana, going to Montana in the winter vlog, you'll know that I picked up this little, like, I don't want to call it an ashtray. It's like a trinkets tray at my favorite store in Whitefish, Montana, which is called Mum's. I almost forgot for a second. And I literally bought this tray with this room in mind. I knew that I wanted a sort of dark, not dark, but like a colorful, botanical, but kind of with like a cool grown-up edge room, and I thought this would be great. And these little stickers my mom sent me with my birthday card this year, and it's funny enough, I actually own this plant. I believe it is called a Chinese money plant. I'd have to check the Planta app, but I'll show you this plant in my living room tour. And right now these are just sitting in here because I don't know what to do, what else to put in there. So that's just what's in here for now. Moving right along, if you've watched my vlogs, you know that I've mentioned that I've been over time collecting these Catwalk series of books. If you haven't seen these before, this is a series of books for various fashion designers. And if you do not know, I actually studied fashion merchandising in college, and so I actually, yes, I do like it for the aesthetics, but I do also really enjoy reading and flipping through these books that are obviously, as the name suggests, all about the runways for various fashion designers. And because this one's orange, it ties in super nicely with everything else that I have going on in this room, the sort of warm tropical feel. And underneath this guy is another book that I love. I was first introduced to Slim Aaron's photography on like Tumblr, maybe social media, but if you're not familiar with Slim Aaron's, he was a photographer that I believe was active, I want to say in the 60s and 70s, I might be wrong, but he sort of took photos of like the luxurious side of life. Like he would follow around like the richest of the rich people, and he would just take fabulous photos of their fabulous life. There's some very famous photos out there that he has taken of like women lounging at pools in Palm Springs, and it's just like a very like, it's like a very slice of life take on like a very luxurious destination, which I believe that, because this is the Slim Aaron's La Dolce Vita book, I believe this is all about the Italian coastline, which is a place that has a very special spot in my heart, because I went there with my family for a cruise one time before college, and I just think it's the most beautiful place on earth. I like that it's got sort of orange features on the front, and the spine ties in nicely with this Louis Vuitton book here. Louis Vuitton. And then I don't know if I'm actually gonna lift these guys up, but this is a Mexican snow wall that again I picked up from North Park Nursery. You know what, I will lift him up. He's very heavy, and he did receive a little bit of trauma in the drive home. I don't know if you can see any of that. He's got some little spots on his leaves, and I also had a very hard time repotting him because the soil that he's attached to is really heavy, and this plant is really heavy. So I thought he wasn't gonna make it, but when I first brought him home, this guy, oh my gosh, I think a leaf just fell off. Yeah, I don't know if he's doing okay or not, because when I first brought him home, this guy was much smaller, and these two like sprout thingies on top weren't there, but at the same time, he shed a lot of like the lower leaves, so I don't know if he's gonna be okay. I don't know if he's getting enough sun here. I might have to sun him regularly. I don't know, we'll see how he's doing. Really heavy. And then this little arrangement of succulents here is super fun. My favorite part of it is this right here. This is called a string of pearls plant. I am planning on getting a full-blown string of pearls plant for a different room in my house, but I just love this. It kind of looks like an alien. I just think it's a really cute way to, again, bring some orange into the room and sort of add like a fun, kooky element that's not just, excuse me, like another succulent. All right, this brings me to the final part of my dining room tour. This is a bird of paradise palm, and it wasn't the palm that I originally wanted to have in this space, but I think I just haven't been looking for palms in the right season, because I've looked everywhere for like big sized palms. All of like the little boutique stores or like smaller nurseries like North Park, and another one that I really like in this area called Landmark Plant Co. just don't have plants of this size, and if they do, they're like fiddle leaves and yucca canes, and I really don't like yucca canes, and fiddle leaves just seem, I don't know, like kind of bratty little plants. Is that even right for me to say about a plant? They seem very high maintenance and very expensive for what they are, which is essentially green pancakes. But anyway, but I couldn't find anything anywhere where I could get a palm that wasn't like a regular like palm tree type palm with like all like the little tendrils off of it. I wanted like a flat sort of style palm like this, and so the only one I could find was this one at Lowe's, and it was the last one left. And when I bought it, it did have bird of paradise flowers on it, but they were dead. So I did a lot of research, and I basically found out that you need to cut off the dead flowers, otherwise it's likely that the plant will not flower again. I don't even know if that's the exact reason, but everywhere I looked said to trim off the flowers. But I'm excited for when it does bloom again. I believe this variety is supposed to bloom within the next few months. Maybe that's wrong, but when it does eventually bloom, because it is very happy in this space, so I know that it will, it's great because the flowers are obviously orange, which ties in really nicely with the other orange touches that I have in this room. And I'm really happy with how this plant is doing. When I first got it, I was really scared because it was so heavy and I had to like fit it into the back of my Prius, and luckily the guy at Lowe's was really helpful, and he like helped me like maneuver my seats so that this was like in there and it wasn't even that smushed. And when I first picked it up, it was really sad looking, like it was like really dead and really gray. And again, the Planta app, I'm telling you, it helped me resuscitate this guy. Like I had to mist it to get all the dust off, and I've been watering it, I'm like caressing it lovingly. And I know it looks kind of smushed up against the wall right now, but when I did buy it, it was very much angled one direction, and I do rotate my plants every time I water them because obviously plants grow towards the sun. So if he looks a little bit crammed in here, it's because I just rotated him, and I don't want him to like just grow outwards towards this direction. So that's why he might look a little bit stuck in there, but I promise he's so happy in this space. And if he ever, I feel like he's not getting enough sun, I could easily turn this into an outdoor plant if I wanted to, because we haven't even started working on the backyard yet, let me tell you. But anyway, the last thing that I want to talk about in this room is this bar cart. And I picked up this bar cart from World Market today, actually. It's the right size for us. We're not really hard liquor drinkers. Again, I don't drink that much, and when my husband does drink, he's more of like a seltzers and beers kind of guy. So having a huge bar cart like we did before didn't really make sense. Like I remember at our old place, I had to like fill it up with like decoration-y elements to like even fill the space up. And even now, the top, as you can see, is the only place that actually has alcohol. Below that is our actual glasses, which I think I need to beef up my glass collection, but we're new to the world of serving alcohol in social situations in our home that is not just, do you want a White Claw? You know what I'm saying? So anyway, and then below that, I had no idea what to put there, so I just brought out a nice glass bowl that was actually a gift or a hand-me-down for my mother-in-law again, and I just filled it with fake lemons and limes because I didn't know what else to put there. And you already know I'm not about to buy like a pound of lemons and limes that I'm gonna have to replace regularly just to keep the room aesthetic. But yeah, that's everything that I have for this dining tour. Honestly, like this took a bit longer to film than I actually thought that it would, but you know what, like I said, I really wanted to go into detail because I feel like it wouldn't do the space justice if I didn't talk about all the individual things that I thought about and like took into consideration when putting together this space. So I hope this gave you some sort of inspiration. I do know that I have a large percentage of my following that I know is in some way related to the military, whether you are a military spouse or you're thinking about marrying someone in the military, and maybe you're looking at this video from that perspective of, hey, you know what, you can really work with military housing. To be fair, our house is really awesome and it's on the newer end of the spectrum, and we're really grateful for that. But yeah, that's all that I have for this video. Again, if you enjoyed it, please subscribe down below. I am going to be doing a house tour series. This is the first video in that series. Next up will be the living room, and I'm really excited to film this series. House decor is not my #1 focus on this channel, like I said in the beginning, so if you're interested in vlogs and fashion and travel and lifestyle and all that sort of stuff, please subscribe down below, like I said. And if you want to get in contact with me, please follow me over on my Instagram and message me there. I actually have had a lot of communication with my YouTube subscribers over on my Instagram DMs, which has been such a gratifying experience. Like, you know, I see the number of subscribers that I have, but it's so cool when you guys like respond to my stories and then I'll message you back and you're like, by the way, I love the latest YouTube video. I'm like, oh, so that's all I have for this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next video for a vlog.